Hey guys, good morning everybody. Today is Monday, October 21st. It is 6:22 right now. Market's gonna open in about 8 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up this room real quick and we'll get started shortly with our analysis for today. All right, just a few things here to update. One last thing. And we are good to go. All right, so let me get this link sent out to you guys here in the premium. Max that out. Yeah. Solicitation chat. All right, so it looks like we are good to go here. So as people join in, I'm going to go ahead and start marking up liquidity over here. Let's see, so I'll start over here on the daily time frame. Down over here on the 4 hour. On down to the 1 hour. So for the liquidity guys, again, it just depends on like how detailed you want to be. Typically, I'd go like to the half time frame, like I'd go from the daily 4 hour, 2 hour, 1 hour, but I'm just skipping around to like the 1 hour, 30 minute, and I'll probably jump down to the 10 minute from here because I'm not really looking to get anything that's like a lot of these line up with lower time frames anyway, so it's not super necessary, but just depending on how specific you want to be, right? So I jump from the 30 minute to the 10 minute. You can go from 30 to 15, but it's kind of pointless because they're going to line up anyways. And then back down to the 1 minute over here. So it's just really up to preference. And it looks like we are good to go. So I've marked up liquidity over here, guys. Closest level of liquidity above is at 43,502. Closest level of liquidity below is at 43,411. I'll be posting up the direction of the breakout in the Zoom chat shortly. And we'll be ready to kick off this trading week. Hey, Glenn, morning. All right, guys, if you guys are just joining in, good morning, everybody. Today's Monday, October 21st. Hopefully everyone had a great weekend. 6:26 right now. Market's going to open up in about 4 minutes. I've marked up liquidity over here on our chart. So if you guys are just getting in, first level of liquidity above is at 43,502. We're basically in the 43,000 mark now. So I'll just go over and I'll just call things by the 100 level. So basically at 502 and then the next level down here at 411. Where it doesn't look like we're going to break the 43,000 mark today. So I'll just go over the, I'll pass the 43,000 mark and then just go from the hundreds. It's just a lot easier that way. You don't have to call out the whole 43,502, 43,411. You can just say 502 or 411 down here. So again, guys, market will be opening up shortly and I will be putting the direction of the breakout in the Zoom chat in a few moments. 6:27 right now, so we got about 2 minutes till I post the direction of the breakout. All right, it's kind of lining up where I'm looking at anyway, so we'll see what happens here. Slow market here on open. right, perfect. So we got a few last minute people coming into the room, guys. Looks like majority of you guys are here so far. Again, guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Monday, October 21st, 6:27 right now. I'll be posting the direction of the breakout in about 2 minutes in the Zoom chat, and we should be good to go. Be posting the direction of the breakout in about 1 minute. I don't think there's any news today either. There's CB leading index, low impact, 7 o'clock. And that's pretty much it. All right. Hey, Daniel. Morning. Morning, Jonathan. Morning, everybody. All right, guys. Breakout for today is going to be posted in about 10 seconds. All right, guys. So the direction of the breakout has been posted in the Zoom chat. So market's gonna open up in about 30 seconds. I'll post it up again right there. Every time I see people join in the room, like very last second, I put it back in the room right there. So, all right, guys, we got market opening up in about 20 seconds here. We're getting a big push here to get on open. This is a thing that I don't really like, but I'm gonna have to take it anyways. So we got market opening up in about 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Market is now open. So I'm in the breakout right here. The same thing we talked about last week. I don't like when you have this big candle here right before market open. Let me measure that candle real quick. It's not a big candle, but it's big compared to all the previous candles. It's always going to pose some insecurity whenever that happens, but we just got to stick to the game plan here. So I'll stick to the game plan here. We'll put that in our notes again if anything happens, but for the most part, breakout is currently running. It's kind of what was happening last week a lot towards the end of the week. And we'll see. Hopefully that's not the case this week and it just continues to move where it needs to go. So we got the breakout running right now. Like I said, today's Monday, so there's not really much of a direction that we can really follow yet. And we'll just kind of see where this ends up going. So breakout is currently running right now. The volatility is currently 17 ATR, so it's actually pretty low right now. And we'll see if there's any opportunities that may come up here. So we only have the breakout that's currently running. If you guys are looking to take some market flow V2s, you have to look for that buy signal to come up. Once that buy signal comes up, you can look for prices swing to the upside. If you're looking for some sells, obviously you need to wait for price to come back below the pivots. But right now, for the most part, we're kind of aiming for some price to push to the upside. The only couple issues here that we'll be looking for would be the red flags. Of course, we have the Asia low sitting right here, and we have London high sitting right here. So we got two different areas where price may get stuck. We're hoping price just pushes right through it, but if not, obviously we'll come back and take a look at that as price moves along. So let me just make sure I have everything here set up properly. Profit target is at moving up at 1 point. There you go. Got to make sure everything here is set proper, which looks fine. So there goes our breakout right now. Breakout's currently running in profit, as you guys can see. Today it looks like it might be a little bit of a slow day. I'm looking at the ATR right now. It's very low, 16 ATR. So this thing might have to climb around for a bit. Again, it's having trouble getting past the sessions. This is what I warned you guys about right here. basically the Asia low right here, price is going to have trouble getting past it. And then same with the London high up here. There's just two red flags around this area where price needs to blast right through it. And price tends to have issues getting past that area like that. Markup opening price right here. All right, so we do have a buy signal here. If you guys are looking to take market flow V2s, your entry would happen right here at the 500 mark. So not the big move yet, but the 10-point move would happen down here at the 500 mark. If anybody's looking to take that. All right, so a little bit of slow market, like I said. Yeah, the ATR is just very low right now. It's currently at 26.5, so it's not super low, but it is a lot lower than usual. If you guys remember from last week, it was like at 40 ATR. So breakout's still currently running right now in profit. If you guys are looking to take the market flow V2s, entry would happen here. Now price is getting moved up to the it's still at the 500 mark, but you can see how price is stuck right here at the sessions. That's exactly what we were just talking about. That's gonna be the area where price is gonna have trouble getting past. So if the market flow V2s climb up any higher, you probably want to just wait for price to break out of the sessions before you start looking for some entry here. Otherwise, if you want to just take this entry right here, I mean, this is still perfectly fine because price can come down slightly, fill your order, push right back up to your TP. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be sitting here for a while as it has trouble getting past the sessions right there. So if you guys take the market flow V2, looks like it's currently running right now. It's still before 640, so there's no, it's not time for the bigger move. Again, if you're looking to take this here, it'd probably be for the smaller move. But again, we need price to get past the sessions right here. That's gonna be the hardest part. If the sell signal closes, again, you're gonna have to look for price to swing back up. Otherwise, you can look for price to swing to the downside. However, I'd probably just wait for it to swing back up, of course. My main direction here is going to be bullish because that's where the breakout's pushing. If you guys want to take the sells, feel free to take them, but I would probably be careful because you're going against the bigger move, which is the breakout. So odds are price is probably going to swing back up for the retest of the sessions up there. All right, so now we just wait. Not very much direction here. I was hoping there'd be a lot more direction this week since last week was kind of slow. Well, let's see what happens here. So let's go to the clean chart. I'm going to mark up some zones here just to identify where the range is currently at. So price right here came up. So it looks like this is the current range. I mean, price is ranging again, just like last week. So the upper range is right here at the 550 mark. The lower range, if price does drop any lower, is going to be right here at the 450 mark. It's a 100-point range. And it's kind of just going back and forth between this area right here. So not too much direction today. On top of that, the volatility is very low. Volatility is currently at 19 right now. So it looks like we're probably going to be hanging on to this breakout for a while today. This might be one of those days where the breakout lasts till like mid-session. We haven't had a breakout like this for a while. I think since like the last week of September. I think last week of September, we had to hold on to a breakout until like 11:30. So that was like maybe about an hour before market close. This might be one of those days. It just looks like it already. So again, if you guys are looking to take some market flow entries, you need to have market flow in the market, right? You need price to be climbing to the upside, or you need price to be climbing to the downside. Right now, price is going sideways, back and forth between this range. So we're just gonna have to wait and see where this ends up going. So let's go over here to the SR chart. I'm gonna mark up some zones here as well for you guys who like to trade support and resistance. Okay, there's actually a lot of zones around this area. So I just create one big one right here. I'll probably change this up. I don't really like to have a huge zone like that. I mean, technically, there's two big zones right here. Let's go back to the 1 minute, see how that looks. I guess it's fine. So I can leave right there as a big zone. You can see that price is just kind of sitting within this zone right here. This is the 10-minute zone. So this was actually a 10-minute support. You can see the support here was created. Yeah, so this support was created last Friday. It's a huge support here that was created last Friday. Price kind of just sat above it, came down right here, faked out below it, and then it came right back into the zone. And it's kind of just sitting in this area here now as we speak. So this is a 10-minute support zone right now that price is sitting in. There's smaller zones within it, but this is considered the 10-minute support zone right now. So there's not really too much here to work with. I mean, price will probably just sit within this middle area here for a while. The 10-minute support zone is basically where price is currently ranging from. So here's a clean chart. You guys can see here the range is like it's between this area. This whole area right here is basically the 10-minute support. So what I'll be looking for here is a bounce off this area and a continuation back up. Right? Bounce off this area and a continuation back up. Ideally, that's kind of what I'm looking for here. That's going to be in the direction of our breakout. So I'm hoping that becomes the case and it climbs up super high and breaks through to the next level of resistance up here. Because that'll be obviously in our favor. So let me see over here. Let me see what's up here real quick. So the resistance is actually way up here. It's way up here at this zone right here, which will be on our way to our TP for the breakout. TP for the breakout's right here. It's this black dotted line. So ideally, that's kind of what I'm looking for. I'm looking for price to break through the resistance and then climb up higher from there. But it's going to be a bit of an issue because like we talked about earlier, the sessions are up here. So I mean, either way, it's going to be trouble to get past this area. So there's no entries here right now, guys. I know it's 640, so you guys might be looking for some market flow V2s. I would probably hold off until there's some actual market flow direction. Right now, price is obviously just going sideways, as you guys can see here. I'd wait for price to possibly give you that buy signal and then climb up higher. Right, there's just no direction today. It's really weird for like mid-October because usually at this time we're gonna have some volatility. It starts to slow down like mid-November because of the holidays, but we're like in the prime time fall season, so. Well, hopefully this is just today. Today's just the slow day, and then the rest of the week will pick up. Let me check the calendar for this week. So for this week, we don't really have much news today. We don't have news tomorrow. I mean, we have some news, but it's low impact. It's not really going to affect the market too much. Wednesday over here, we have existing home sales at 7. This is probably going to push the market a little bit. Otherwise, pre-market stuff's all low impact. We have the Fed speaking pretty much every day. This week might be Fed week. Actually, no, it's not Fed week. Thursday, we have high impact news. So on Thursdays, usually it looks like this is where the big news is going to happen. We have continuing jobless claims, 4-week average, initial jobless claims, Chicago Fed National Activity Index, S&P Composite PMI, Global Services PMI, Manufacturing PMI, new home sales for over the month and for the year as well. So Thursday, we have the high impact news. So it looks like it's going to be pretty much a boring week or a slow week with no real catalyst to push price around until Thursday. Thursdays where all the high impact news events come out. And then on Friday as well, we have durable goods. That's pretty much it. So there's not really too much going on this week, unless there's other stuff going on behind the scenes. It's not elections week yet. Elections week is in about 2 weeks. So yeah, just we'll have to see what happens here. All right, so price drop below the support level, or not the support level, the uh the 450 mark right there. Let's go over here to the SR chart. Okay, so price looks like it might come down a little lower to the lower support level right here, and then maybe swing back up. Or this could just fake out. So there's a lot of different scenarios that can play out here. So price is currently below the support level right here. Typically what happens around this area is a fake out, just like what happened up here, right? So price will typically go below it slightly, fake out, and then pull right back into the range. Kind of like what happened up here. Price broke above it, faked out, came right back into the range. Ideally, that's kind of like what will likely happen because that's usually what happens when price is ranging. Unless price starts to break out into a direction, right? Which is not really what I'm expecting. I'm not expecting much of a breakout here, at least not yet. It still seems kind of early for the breakout because price is kind of just going back and forth between this area. Next whole number is pretty far down though. It's at 400 down here. Yeah, so the next whole number is it's a way to go. So that fake out right there looks like it's going to play out, and then it'll probably just pull right back into the range. That's typically what happens when price breaks out of the actual range. I mean, again, we'll just see what happens here. Yeah, Stanley over here said trading is with comfortable risk is a lot better, LOL. I'm risking 500 per trade on my 50K PA. So he needs 5 back-to-back losses. Yeah, no, same here. With my 300Ks, I'm only risking 3 contracts. So it's like I'm risking 1,500 per trade, but I have 7,500 max risk, right? So for me, with these breakouts, I'm kind of like just letting them run. That's why I just let the trades kind of do what they need to do because I don't necessarily like I understand that the losses are going to happen, but the wins are also going to happen as well. So you're going to have some losses here and there, and then you're going to have a lot of back-to-back wins here and there. Um, Realistically, it's just waiting for price to have some sort of direction, right? Like I wasn't expecting this to happen today. I was expecting more of a directional push. Like I was expecting price to open up and then okay, climb up, climb up, etc. Or price to open up and then price come down, drop down, etc. Um, and there we go. So this is exactly what I just told you guys it was going to happen. I said, look out for the fake out and then pull right back into the range, right? This is nothing new. This happens every day, right? Whenever price is in a consolidation range like this, you could expect this to happen. It's the same thing that happened up here. So just expect that whenever price is in a range or it's consolidating or it's going sideways or whatever is happening, the thing to really look out for would be the fake out, right? Fake out, the real direction right here is just in between the range. Price will kind of just fake out and then pull back into the range. And then what you're waiting for is really just for price to break out of the range and then continue in that direction. So here he goes, price pulls back into the range, just like I mentioned. So here's the SR chart, price faked out right there, pulled right back into this middle area. Same with the clean chart, fake out, back into the range, and back into a sideways move. I mean, this is how the market's been for the past, I think 4 days now, 3 to 4 days. Not the best market to trade in, especially not for the market flow V2s. If you guys want to keep taking market flow V2s, I mean, feel free, right? It's up to you however you want to take these entries. But like I was saying before, guys, like there's just no direction here. So when there's no direction, it's better to just sit out, wait for the direction to play out. I saw your question in the chat earlier, Stanley, so let me check that real quick. I saw it like right when we got on the let me check my DM real quick. Eight, six. Dang, these scammers are like they're like really these Discord scammers are getting better. I almost accepted a friend request from this guy that I thought was someone else, but it was super close his name. But I just checked his actual name and it wasn't him. Anyways, back to that question you had earlier, Stanley. So Stanley said, don't risk more than 30% of your starting profits on one trade. Um, so with that right there, that's just that, yeah, it's within the consistency rule. So it's not a hard line rule, Stanley, the 30%. It's more so like it's gonna flag something. So like if you take a trade, like you said, if you take a trade where you're making like say 1,000 and then you close your profit at $20, it's gonna get flagged for the consistency rule. So they're probably going to review your account and then they might message you and tell you that like, okay, you're not within consistency, and then you have to keep trading. But it's not gonna be a hard line rule. So what they're going to do is they're going to monitor your trade and they're going to, and Stanley's asking about Apex here because Apex released a bunch of new rules. Um, so with the consistency rule, basically what they want is they don't want you to be taking like a trade where it's like a 100-point stop loss and then like a 10-point TP, right? The 1030 rules or the 1030 TP stop loss we're using is fine because they kind of expanded it a little bit. So initially they said 3-1 is going to be like flaggable, but now it's 5-1. So as long as you're not taking a trade where you're like I said, 1,000 stop loss, like $1,000 stop loss and a 20-point TP. I know sometimes you're going to get caught in that because you're going to move your stop loss to break even. Um, it might flag it, but what they're going to do is they're going to review your trade and they're going to make sure that, okay, this is what happened. Like Stanley had a big TP stop loss. And then what happened is like he just closed out at break even. They'll just review your trade. So if you don't want to get flagged, don't take trades like that, but you're going to get flagged either way if that happens. And they're going to review your trade just to make sure that you weren't doing something crazy, right? Because like what they're doing, what they don't want people to do is like, for example, here, like you see price super low and they don't want people to like take trades like this where your stop loss is way up here. Or what happens with a lot of people is they don't even have a stop loss, right? That's what they want to stop. They want to stop people who are trading like this, where they just take a trade and then they hope and pray that it's going to come back down. Because a lot of people are abusing the system like that. I know this is a trading style for a lot of people, but Apex doesn't want traders like this. So I know sometimes in a situation you'll have like so you'll have something like this, Stanley, and then you move your stop loss in profit, it swings back up and hit your stop loss, right? You get out at like $20 instead of making 1,000. Um, it's gonna trigger like you're basically gonna get an automatic flag on your account, and then they'll review it, and then I think they'll pass it through. But if you're doing that every time, like if every trade is like that, then yeah, it's gonna be an issue. So they just want to make sure you're not doing that every single time. I don't know if anybody watched that video, but there's a lot. They're not bad rules. So I put a little summary right here in the chat. And there's nothing going on in the chart right now, guys. So there's nothing for you guys to take here. Price is just within the range. So don't worry. You guys are not missing out on anything. I wouldn't recommend taking any market flows here because there is no market flow. Until price starts to move directional to the upside or until price starts to move directional to the downside, I wouldn't recommend hopping into any market flows. But I put a quick little summary over here of like what was covered in the Apex um, in the new Apex interview. So basically, this is the biggest thing here. This is the payouts, right? Because typically you have to request payouts at the beginning of the month and in the middle of the month. Starting November 1st, after 8 trading days, once you have 5 days in profit, you'll be able to request a payout. You don't have to wait for the end of the month. So that's like a huge thing. The safety net over here, this is a thing that's going to trip out a lot of people too, because before they didn't enforce this very much, but now this is like very enforced. There's a safety net now. So you need to have a buffer before you start withdrawing money. this is a little confusing to me. So what I would recommend is build a buffer first before you start requesting payouts. That's what I'm doing anyways. I'm not really going to take any like big payouts until I have a pretty big buffer between the buffer for a 300K count is about 6,000 or 7,600. It's somewhere around there. It's around the 7,600 mark. Basically, you have to have that buffer before you can start with requesting payouts. So like say for example, you hit the buffer of 7,000 and then you have like 500 bucks. I wouldn't take a payout yet. I would just keep growing that buffer and then I'd probably just keep trading for like another couple weeks or another month even so, just to have a bigger buffer. Because the thing with this is that what I heard from the rule is that if you withdraw, your trailing drawdown is like set to that amount now. So you can't go below that amount. If you do, then you blow the account. It's similar to like the Top Step rule. Top Step has a similar rule with their buffer. So the next big thing is the payout denials. So right here, what they're going to be doing now is instead of just reviewing your accounts, like so basically, if you're like at your fifth day of trading, and then they're expecting that you're going to request a payout in the next 3 days because your 8 days are going to come up, they're going to start reviewing your account at the 5 day mark. So when you put in your request, it's going to get approved like pretty much automatically or like right then and there versus you having to wait like a week for them to approve your payout. So this is a big thing too. They're not going to be lazy. They're going to be checking your accounts like around the clock. And then the trading rules over here that we just talked about, of course. The last big thing that it's not really big to us, but it's big to other people. So they're flipping is allowed, DCA is allowed now, and news trading is allowed. Before DCA wasn't allowed. So they're going to allow it now, but this is what combats the DCA thing. Like you have to have a stop loss, and then you can't be making like these YOLO trades. So you can do flipping and you can do DCA, but you can't really be YOLOing. You have to like really take a trade that you got to take a trade that is likely to, you have to have like set parameters basically every time you take a trade. Like if you take a news trade, you have to like get out at a certain profit. You can't have like an unlimited profit and then or unlimited stop loss and then like a small TP. So just keep that in mind. The consistency rule is probably going to be the biggest factor moving forward with a lot of these prop firms. So if you're trading the breakout with me, you should be fine because every trade is pretty much one-to-one. And then if you're trading the scalps, you should be fine too because those are basically 3-to-1. So you should be okay. Yeah, and then one last thing here that CJ mentioned, he said they're also enforcing scaling contracts. So like the reason for that is because people YOLO news trades and they YOLO I've told you guys about this before, right? Like some people like when news happens, they take like a huge contract position like for a buy and they just hope that price spikes up and they make this huge payout, right? Um, they want to prevent that from happening. So the consistency rule and then enforcing like using not the max contracts once you get funded is going to be something that they're going to possibly enforce moving forward. So you have like a max on a 300K, you can use a max of 35 contracts. I think they're going to limit you to like, I think maybe like 10 contracts or 15 contracts, like in increments of 5. So to start off with 5, move up to 10. And then as you continue to trade, it'll move up until you're unlimited with your contract sizing. So again, that won't be a problem with us here because, like I said, once you get to your PA stage, you should be minimizing your contract size anyways. You shouldn't be taking something too big. Like for me, once I got funded with my 300K accounts, I went down from, so initially I was taking 15 contracts to pass. And then when I first got funded, I went to 5 contracts. I realized that was a lot of risk. And then now I'm back down to 3 contracts. So yeah, it shouldn't be a problem, even if they do enforce, contract size limits. All right, guys, so price is down here again at the support level. Let's see what happens here again. If price ends up bouncing from here and coming right back up. I mean, it looks like the range is now like down below this area. Right, so we had the initial range right here. Price came down, now the range is like down here. So I think price might sit below this area for a while, and then I'm hoping that eventually price is going to climb up and then break out to the upside. Because that's typically what happens. So you'll see over here, price will range for a little bit, and then it'll move to a new range down here. And then as price ranges down here, it'll move to new range. And then a new range. And then possibly, back to the old range from earlier. Yeah, it's just not a good market today, as you guys can see. It's a lot of like back and forth. A lot of back and forth today. So if you guys are looking to take those market flow V2s, again, like I would probably recommend just holding off and waiting for there to be some sort of direction. I mean, it looks like there may be some sort of direction here starting to build up, but realistically for me here, it just looks like price is still going sideways. Right, so it looks like price might be trying to come down a little bit, but I don't know. For me here, it just doesn't look like that's the case. Yeah, it's a slow market. The ATR right now is currently at 20. Actually, it's at 19. So it's not super volatile right now. And I'm hoping that today would be a different day, but it's kind of just like how it was pretty much towards the end of last week. Same type of movement from Wednesday, Thursday. Price is kind of just sitting. Let's go back over here to the SR chart. It's currently at the support level right now. So let's see if it bounces off this point. Swings back up. Let's see. CJ said, I noticed the past 5 days market always forms a big W or M during the live session. Yeah, no, I've noticed that too. It usually happens when the market's going sideways. Like it tends to go in a direction eventually, but for the most part, it kind of goes sideways for a bit. And then it ends up forming that W or that M, right? So let's see if it bounces off the support level right here. All right, so it's doing pretty much what we anticipated. It's pulling back into the range again. So again, another fake out here and then pull back into the range. So doing these sessions down here. There's actually no sessions down here. All the sessions are above. So we're pretty much at the very low, like we're below all of the low sessions. And price just keeps dropping lower and lower from where it's at right now. I don't think there's any sessions down here. Oh, there is one. So there's a New York low that's way down here. This is from Friday. But other than that, not much. So let's check CNBC real quick, see if there's anything here that no breaking news on CNBC today. So let's see the last news release over here from CNBC. The stock slipped Monday after S&P 500 and Dow post 6-week winning streak. So going down over here, let's see. About 28 minutes ago on market open, it says stocks opened lower on Monday. Stocks kicked off fresh trading week in the red. That's about it. Nothing else. About an hour ago, Dallas Fed President Logan backs gradually reducing interest rates. So that's good for the market. Other than that, that's pretty much it. There's just no news for today so far. So there's no catalyst really pushing price around. I mean, price is kind of just sitting where it's at. Yeah, nothing here so far. All right, so again, price is sitting at the support level right there. All right. Still no movement here. The volatility is actually lower. So we were currently at 20 ATR earlier. We went down to 18, back to 19 here. Now back to 20. Let's see if it's finally getting that push back to the upside. I'm hoping this support here is going to hold. And then it finally decides to make a climb right back up. I mean, ideally, that'd be the case, right? Well, we just gotta wait. There's nothing here. So, back to what we were talking about earlier, guys. If you guys want to take market flow V2s, feel free to take them, but I don't really recommend taking them right now. There's just no direction here as price continues to like sit down below this area. Even here right now, where price is currently sitting at the moment, I don't even think this is worth really. I mean, price is just going back and forth. So the thing with this here is that the volatility is starting to pick up a little bit, but there's still no direction. So I'm hoping this here is going to be a break and retest of the support level. So I'm looking for price to break above, retest, and then obviously climb back up. But there's not really much here to work with. All right. So here is the clean chart. Not too much going on over here. Price again is just sitting down below. So looking at the clean chart right here, same thing. Price is now between these two levels. It's pretty much what we just talked about earlier, guys. So range right here, break below, range right here, break below, range right here. And then I wouldn't be surprised if price comes back up. Range is back right here. Maybe push back even higher, range up here. And then just keep doing the same thing. This is the same exact market that was happening Wednesday, Thursday of last week. There wasn't really too much of a direction. What happened was price would range for a little bit, break below, range for a little bit, break back above, range. And then it would just keep doing this over and over all throughout the day. So not much has changed since last week's market. Unfortunately, I was hoping this week would be a lot more directional because that's usually what happens. If we have a sideways market, it tends to move directional the following week. But maybe this is just Monday. So I'm hoping it's just like this for Monday, and then tomorrow let's pick back up, move more directional. But as of now, there's just not really much here to, really work with. So over here to the support, the SRS chart. So price came here, tested the lower end of the support. And then let's see if it pulls right back up again. There aren't really many targets below. So the targets below are, they are at the, we had some liquidity that was there. So liquidity is kind of sitting at the liquidity right now. It's just sitting right there. It's not actually coming below it. It's just sitting at the liquidity, which is not a good sign because if there's liquidity sitting down there, price is trying to trigger it, but it's if it's not able to trigger it, it's probably going to reverse, which is going to be a good sign for us. So let's see, price is now below the support level. Looks like my stop might get hit for the breakout, but we'll see. Breakout's still running, surprisingly. It's been a while. All right, so I got stopped out on the breakout, guys, unfortunately. Like I said, it was a bit of a trouble here because liquidity was sitting at this lower area. So it was kind of just sitting right there for a while. And then it ended up blasting right through it, just like what would typically would happen if you're looking at liquidity down there. So unfortunately, today the breakout was not a win. I'll try again tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a deciding factor whether I'm going to sit out this week or I'm going to keep trading for this week, following the risk plan. So unfortunately, breakout for today. We had the same problem that we had last week. So I'm going to put that again in our notes. Right here, the candle right before open pushed up pretty heavily. The 629 candle right here. Where's that? Yeah, so this green candle right here pushed up really heavily. It pretty much engulfed all the previous candles. Looks like price just triggered the stop loss, and this thing here might swing back up, but we'll see what happens from there. If you guys want to keep looking for entries, I'll look for some market flow V2s, but I will take a screenshot of this basically to put into our notes. So unfortunately, not the way I wanted to kick off the week, but it's part of the game. So here, price is pushing back up. It just came down slightly, just barely triggered the stop loss, and now it's coming right back up, which is a little annoying, but that's just how it is today. So let me put that over here in the trades for today. And I'll also put the notes right here. Price spike on 629 candle for this entry, engulfing previous candles. All right, so it looks like that's going to be something that we might have to adapt with. So that's that type of candle has been happening pretty much like for the past 3 days. I was hoping by this week it would stop happening, but it's still happening right here. So the 629 candle right here, this big green candle, pretty much engulfed all of the previous ones. And that's kind of what I'm going to look for. So if I see that happen again, we might start to just take the opposite trade. So instead of taking the trade in the direction that we're looking at, we're going to take the opposite when, and that's just a thought right now. So I'm not going to do it yet, but if this week continues to be the case and that's like how it ends up playing out, then we'll just take the opposite. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised here. Price ends up climbing all the way back up from where it's currently at. So if you guys took liquidity over here, the first level of liquidity above right here hit right on open. So obviously we took that first level right there. That was a full TP for 10 points. As of right now, I would probably still hold off on market flow V2s because there's still no direction. So liquidity right here got hit. That was a full TP. If you took the liquidity down here, it looks like the first one might have not hit, or actually, no, it did. It just went into some deep drawdown. So the first level right here, it got triggered at 659. And then it kind of went back for a little bit, and then it came all the way back down. The next level over here also got, or actually the next level didn't hit. So first level of liquidity here hit. First level of liquidity right here on the bottom side hit. The second level down here did not hit. So 2 wins for liquidity and 1 loss for liquidity. And then the breakout is also a loss for that one right there. N2 is asking, what is your breakout based on? It's based on the momentum signal. So it's only the momentum, that's it. All right, so I'm hoping we're gonna get some more directional push this week, but if we don't, then I mean, this is gonna be it's either gonna be a long hold for the trade. Like for the breakout today, this thing held for a long time. So the entry happened at 6:30. This entry was running for about 42 minutes. That's a long breakout. Breakouts aren't supposed to run for that long. So again, that's another sign of like why or when we might have to make some adaptations to the, well, I don't think there's going to be anything that we need to adapt to because the win rate's still very high. We had 1 loss for this week. Win rate's still above like a 65% for the month. So the month of October, we're pretty good overall. Let me see if I can see the stats over here. So, yeah, so for the month so far, we're still pretty decent. We're at about, let's see, we're at about a 66% win rate. So overall for the month, I don't think there's any changes that we need to make to the breakout. It's just we're going through a rough patch right now, which is normal, right? We expected a rough patch like this to happen. But overall for the month, we're still in profit. And then the win rate's still above 50. The key thing is that it's above 50. If the win rate stays above 50, that's perfectly fine because at the end of the month, we'll be in profit. The only time that changes really need to be made is if the win rate drops below 50, right? Because at that point, and we were already taking notes on it. So we already have notes on these big candles here. If that becomes the case, then we'll just do the opposite. And then those losses would turn into wins, of course. So if the win rate starts to drop a little bit lower, then okay, we'll start trying to make adaptations. We'll either like look for these big candles that happen right before open. We'll do the opposite trade. But as of now, I think we'll just stick to the game plan. Game plan is still fine. Month of October is still pretty solid. We just have to continue doing what we're doing. All right, so I wouldn't be surprised if this thing climbs back up. It's going to be super annoying if it does, because it literally just barely triggered the stop loss right here for the breakout. And then now it's climbing back up. So from this point right here, where price came down to the bottom, it's now back up almost 50 points. So it would have came all the way back up to opening price right there. Target price point here, because there's no other targets at this point. So let's go over here real quick. So let me back up. There's liquidity, but it's like super far below. It's right here at the London low and the New York low. I'm kind of confused why the London low is so, oh, because it hasn't updated yet. Because London session, let me check. Yeah, London session didn't come down this far. It's because it hasn't updated to yesterday's high low. The low from that point is London session from Thursday. Or Friday, actually, Friday morning. All right, so with where price is currently at right here, if you guys are looking to take some market flows, again, I probably wouldn't recommend taking market flow because price isn't really moving in a direction of flow. It's just going sideways right here. If you are looking to take some market flow, you'd have to wait for the sell signal here to come up and then look for it to come back for opportunity for entry. See if there was any market flows that came up here. So there was a sell signal that came up right here at 655. I guess there was a couple market flows that were available right here. So price came down right here. Entry would have happened. I mean, these would have been tight market flows though, like I said, but there's no direction here. So the market flows would be really tight. Again, if you're looking to take another market flow here, you'd have to wait for a sell signal to come up. There was a sell signal that came up right here, retraced this point. Market flow could have happened right here at the 7 o'clock candle. Again, if there's more market flows that come up, I'll mark them up for you guys. But at this very moment, I'm just not really expecting too much to happen here. You can see here from the main chart that price is just going sideways right here. So again, if you want to take, my allergies are coming back because the weather is getting cold. So like I said right here, price is not going anywhere. It's going sideways. In order for you to take market flow, you really want price to go up, retrace, up, retrace, up, retrace, up. That's how you can get market flow to the upside. Vice versa, if you're looking for market flow to the downside, you want to take price to come down, retrace, down, etc. That is the market flow to the downside. Right now, that's not really happening. Price is just going back and forth. So it's not the type of market for market flow. This type of market right now is just sideways. N2 is asking your trades are based on statistics. What do you mean, N2? Sorry, I don't understand your question. So the trade is based off the strategy. The strategy, I have statistics for 2 years of trading data. So if that's what you mean, then yes, that's the whole reason of, I have 2 years of trading data here to follow, and that's how I know the strategy works. I've gone back to 2022, taking the same entry up until 2024. And then right here, obviously, the win rate. So in a 2-year period, it has a win rate of 102 divided by 164. This is a raw data. With the adjustments that I made here, these are the trades for with the risk plan. So with the risk plan here, it'd be 94 wins divided by 151. I'm sorry, 94 trades divided by 151. So it's about the same. They come out to about 62 point, basically a 63% win rate over a 2-year period. Obviously the profit's there, so it's a profitable strategy long term. So I mean, if that's what you mean, then yeah, it's based off statistics, because I mean that's how you know a strategy works. It's not based off it's not subjective, it's all objective, because we have the data to back it up. That's why I'm taking the entry. If the strategy didn't prove itself that it worked in a long-term period, I wouldn't have taken it. It's not something that I just came up with and I'm like, hey, I'm going to start doing it just because I see some sort of pattern here. It's like because I pulled data for 2 years and I'm like, okay, this breakout's been working for 2 years from 2002 to 2024. Odds of it continuing to work from 2024 to 2026 are likely. So everything is tested. If that's what you mean. I'm not sure what your question is, if that's what you're asking for. So yeah, if you're asking for that, it's based off a model that I created. So I created a base model. The base model is basically just the momentum signals. And then from there, I made some adjustments regarding like certain market days, like NFP. So for NFP, I take the opposite move. And then, like I said, right now we have like this big candle here that happens right before. Basically, whenever this big candle happens right before the entry and it engulfs, it typically goes the other way. So if that's the case and I need to make it some more adjustments, then I could adapt again to this type of structure, right? And then the win rate just goes higher and higher because we adapt to whatever's happening in the market for that time. So yeah, if that's what you're asking, then yes, they're based off statistics, but I'm kind of confused with your question. Anyways, guys, there's no entries here right now. We have a sell signal that just came up. If you guys are looking to take market flow V2, I would probably hold off on today, guys. I'm just not really seeing much of a flow in the market. Right here, again, price is still going sideways. Price is still going sideways, so there's no market flow here. Again, if you want to take some market flow, the sell signal is there, but what you're looking for here is you're looking for price to really flow to the downside, right? You want something like this to happen before you start taking these market flows for a sell. And then vice versa for the buy signal right here. If you get a buy signal, price climbs up, you want it to actually flow to the upside. So you want it to be flowing up like that in order for you to take some buys, right? The only entries that I would probably say would be remotely safe right now would be the V1 variations, of course. That's probably the only thing that I would probably look for, because price is going sideways. Whenever price goes back and forth like this, V1 variations and so V1 variations, CV patterns, and high-level momentum scalp. So those would probably be your best option. There's actually a high-level momentum scalp that happened right here on the sell signal. So this right here, there's a higher high, red candle right there, a red sell signal. This would be a high-level momentum scalp. Hasn't hit yet, but looks like it could be on its way down. And Daniel said, tell Steven to take the sell really quick so he can flip this back up earlier at 7. Medu said I was almost ready to take the sell for the breakout because of the push, but didn't want to go opposite of you. Yeah, no, I thought about doing the same thing, Madhu. So like for my analysis over here on the 3 minute chart, let me clean this up real quick. So my analysis over here on the 3 minute chart, I was actually looking to take a sell here because it just lined up with what I was looking for. So we had the Asia range, we had the bearish London move over here, and then I was looking for a reversal back to the downside. The only thing here that tripped me up was that that sell signal came up. Let me clean this up right here. That sell signal came up like right before, right? I wasn't expecting this to come up because I thought price was just going to keep staying flat right here. And then I was hoping that this sell signal would have never came up. I was hoping to just stay flat up until market open, and then we just take the sell. But the thing with this here is that, we can't really, like I have to stick to the game plan. Like, like we talked about earlier, it's all based off the model that I created. So like we have to stick to the model because the model is like where the data is from. And we can't just like, oh, like for one day, just do something different because it's going to go against the model. So yeah, I know it does kind of suck sometimes when this becomes a case because like usually the entries will happen and there's no momentum signal until like market opens, right? It'll stay flat and then the momentum signal will happen later. But what's been happening lately is that we have like these like market will be flat pretty much all morning. And then the 2 minutes right before market open, the candle starts to move, right? Like for example, right here, this was like super flat from like 5:30 up until 6:28 or 6:20, yeah, 6:28 right here. And then at 6:28, you start to get these bigger candles that just kind of come up out of nowhere. And then that's where the market gets kind of screwed around. Because technically, if we didn't have this sell signal right here, the entry would have been a sell, right? It would have just been a sell. But yeah, I mean, you just gotta stick to the game plan. Anyways, I'm gonna add that to the notes like we've been doing, and then if we need to make adjustments where if we see the big candle happen where it engulfs pretty much the previous candles, then we'll just take the opposite. I don't think this is gonna happen every day, but it's just been happening for the past 3 days, which has kind of been, a bummer for like our trades here. Because if you look at our wins here, we don't really have that. So for example, this was a loss like last week, same thing. This was a loss on the 17th, right? At the 629 candle, you had this huge candle here that pretty much engulfed all the previous candles. And that's kind of what screwed us over on the 17th. Same with the day before that, right? You had this huge candle over here that pretty much engulfed all the other candles. And that's what screwed up our entry there. The day before that, so on the 15th, we didn't have that. Price was pretty much just moving how it was supposed to move. And that hit a win, of course, on Tuesday. And then on Monday, same thing. So Monday is a little tricky. This candle over here was actually pretty big and it played out perfectly fine. So this is what I'm saying. Like we can't really make changes. Let me zoom in here a little bit. So if you look over here on Monday's chart, see how this candle here was huge, but our trade still hit perfectly fine. So that's why I'm saying like we can't make adjustments to the strategy yet because the same thing happened on Monday, but it worked in our favor. So I mean, we'll play by ear, guys. I mean, we don't have to like make any changes now. Of course, the strategy works perfectly fine. We're still waiting for the month of October. It's just the current market conditions right now are not really moving directional like that. At least on Monday, we had that move happen, but the market was super directional after that. It kept dropping. Same with Tuesday, right? So like basically the whole concept of it is like you don't want to jump to conclusions right away and make drastic changes to your strategy or whatever we're taking because if you do that, then you can be making changes a little too early and it can mess up your entire game plan, especially if you plan for something specific. Yeah, Daniel said I've been flipping the trade when there's been a big push too. Today just didn't look like it was big enough spike for him to flip. Yeah, and I agree with you too, Daniel, 100%. Yeah, and Madhu said, yeah, that's why he hesitated. But compared to the previous candles, that was much bigger and engulfed several candles. I think the main key here, guys, is not exactly the size of the candle, it's whether it engulfs all the previous candles. I think that's kind of what we would need to focus on. It's like whether it engulfs the previous candles is going to be the bigger factor here with flipping that position. So again, I'll put that in the notes. We don't really, it's not going to be a big deal because we're going to be following the charts anyways. But it does, I think it's good that we're studying it pretty much every day because, it's starting to become a pattern that we started to notice, last week, of course. Yeah, Danielson definitely. Last Monday did this same size push, but ended up going in our direction of our breakout. Every time there's a huge spike, he's flipped the trade and it's hit. Yeah, so I think that the main thing here is to just identify, how it engulfs the previous candles. So I think I'll probably do that today as well. I'll probably just go back to the previous entries and I'll look at and that's how I make adjustments to the strategies anyways. It's just looking to see how this here, because if you just measure this candle right here, and you could even use it as a yeah. So see how this reading candle right here pretty much, and I did it from like the entire body. It pretty much engulfed all these previous candles right here. Now I'm kind of curious to see how that one on Monday moved. So let's just do that real quick. There's no entries here to take, guys. If you guys are looking to take any entries, or actually, let's see. If you want to take a market flow V2, your entry is going to happen right here at the 390 mark. So at the 390 mark right here, this is where you're going to be taking your entry for itself. So your buy limit would be placed right there at the 390 mark. I'll come back to that shortly. I'm just curious to see how much it engulfed on Monday last week. Because Monday won, and that's going to be, an outlier with regard to the data that we were just talking about. All right, so this is a 629 candle. So like the same thing here happened, but it worked on Monday. So this is going to be a little bit of an issue, like that whole reversal type trade entry. Because this is a 629 candle. It pretty much engulfed all the other candles too. The only difference here is that we didn't get a momentum signal like on the 28 candle. All right. I think that's going to be another key factor. I'm probably going to put that in the notes. That there was a momentum that happened right before. Like there was a momentum plus the other candles were engulfing as well. Madhu's asking, does it show the high lows? Well, the high would be right here, Madhu. I mean, it's pretty simple. The low would be right here and the high would be right here. I would have to rewind the chart and that would just kind of like bring us back super far. But I don't think it's necessary because I already know the low is right here and the high is right here. If that's what you're looking for, it'll be down here and here. I would have to rewind it for the high lows to show. But I don't think the high lows are going to make a difference. I don't think that's a factor to look at here because the thing is the market here is consolidating. So you're probably having a bunch of high lows that are within this area. I think there's probably a high here, a low right here, and then a high up here. But that's always going to happen if price is consolidating. Daniel, to check the days that were losses, candle spike 50 to 40 points. Yeah, and I agree with you too. Daniel, I think there's a couple factors that need to be factored in. It's going to be candle size, the momentum signal, and then also how many candles it engulfs. Let's go over here to that Tuesday. So Tuesday, 629. See, it's the same thing here. So we actually had another big candle here, but it worked in our favor. So again, it's like slightly big, but it engulfed a bunch of candles. So I don't think the engulfing thing is really going to be a factor. I think it's probably going to be the size. And then also the thing that I mentioned earlier with the momentum signal that came up like right before it happened right here. So even though this came up, our entry from Tuesday was still hit and it was a full TP. So I mean, this kind of debunks like the whole theory about, let's see how big this candle was. 32 points. Kind of debunks the whole thing that I was just talking about with regard to the momentum signal and it engulfing. Okay, so Wednesday is a trade that actually lost over here. So going to the Wednesday trade, let me check the charts real quick. So there's still no entries here, guys. If you guys are looking to take a market flow V2, entry is going to be here at the 370 now. Hasn't filled yet. Okay, so Wednesday is the first day that it actually lost. So on Wednesday over here, the candle here was huge. So this obviously was engulfing all the previous candles, and the momentum happened on that candle. The size of this candle right here was 55 points. So I think this is the case. So like this might be the thing to look for. It's just really the size of the candle. I think the engulfing doesn't really matter very much. It's really the size of the candle. This over here is 55 points for this candle. Obviously, that was a loss. And then on Thursday as well. So whenever the candle's like about like a 50-point move, that's usually a sign to like, okay, maybe we'll reverse it or we'll just um, sit out of that trade. And then Thursday as well over here. So Thursday over here at, yeah, again, same exact thing. See how huge this candle is? This candle was way bigger than the previous one. It's again 50 points. And then lastly, of course, Fridays, which is fine because the risk plan kind of prevents us from entering these trades anyways. But, if that's the case, again, over here on Friday, same thing. So Friday again, 629 candle right here, extremely huge. Yeah, I think it was like an 80-point candle right there. So yeah, doing that in comparison to today's candle, I don't think today's candle would have been something that we would have done the opposite for. Candle happened right here at 629. It's only 22 points. So I think the emphasis would have to be on the size of the candle. So I put that in the stats actually. The candle size, emphasis. All right, well, we have that in our data moving forward. Again, I'm just going to keep doing what we've been doing. I'm not going to make any changes just yet, but yeah, I mean, if that's the case, then we'll factor that into our future entries. All right, so looking at current price right here, it still hasn't filled for the momentum for the market flow entry over here, guys. If you guys are still looking for entries, I would probably cut it off at this point because you can see that price is now just going sideways and it's pretty flat. I don't think this is necessarily the best time to enter these trades. I mean, if you guys want to take them, feel free to take them, but yeah, I would probably hold off because there's just no direction here, guys. There's really no reason to force any trades here for market flow. Like price will drop for a little bit, but then it'll just go sideways. There's not really any market flow here where price is dropping, retrace, dropping, retrace, etc. Let's see, Daniel said, yeah, today just looked like a normal loss. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Yeah, no, like what you said, Madhu, whenever price consolidates like that, there's always going to be that many high lows. So that's what I was saying. It doesn't really matter if you pull back to look at it because you can see that there's a bunch of high lows in that area. I mean, if you were to go back, so let's see. So we go back to that Monday, it's going to be the same exact thing. Let's go over here real quick. I'm back a little too far. So Monday was, yeah, today's market is just not a good market, honestly. It's just a regular, Typical back and forth. So let's go back over here again, like we were just talking about, Madhu. So back to 628. So it still would have engulfed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's the same thing, like 5 high lows right there. Similar to like what happened today. I mean, today was probably a little more because price was super consolidating hard sideways. But either way, if you're gonna get a sideways, it's always gonna be sideways pre-market. So it doesn't really matter the day because pre-market market doesn't really move anyways. Unless there's like some high impact news event that happens at 5:30. Even if there was a high impact news event, it'll usually go sideways. Every day, like between like basically 6 to like 6:30, you're gonna get some consolidation right there. So it doesn't really make too much of a difference. I mean, if you go back, you can go back and look at it yourself. It's going to look the same because usually right here between today, especially because it was Monday, there was no market really fully open prior. But basically right here between 6 and 7 o'clock, it's the same thing. This one maybe had like a few more high lows, maybe like 2 more high lows because of the consolidation lasted longer. Instead of 6 to 7, it was consolidating between like 5:30 until 7. There was no news this morning, and then on top of that, it's Monday. All right, guys. So like back to what I was saying earlier, there's just nothing going on right here. Price is just going back and forth. There's no entries here. If you are looking for entries, again, like I said, the only entries that I would look for would be V1 variations and CV patterns. So right here, there was a V1 variation and a CV pattern, double body rejection. This candle over here was smaller than the previous. This would have been an entry for a V1 variation. So if you guys are looking to take entries, again, right here, there's a high-low scalp, high-low momentum scalp. There's a lower low, buy signal right here, broken close, past pivots 1 and 2. So if market keeps going sideways like this, the entries that you want to look for are V1 variations and high-low momentum scalps, and then also CV patterns. I mean, that's all that's really happening here, right? So again, right here, there's a higher high. Sell momentum, broken close, past pivots 1 and 2. Right there. So this is a high-level momentum scalp. A lot of you guys remember this from like last winter. During last winter, this was a trade that was taken a lot. There was another one right here too, lower low, buy signal, broken close above it. It's a seasonal type strategy. Whenever market's going sideways, this is the type of strategy that you want to be using. Again, right here, there's a V1 variation, double body rejection. Basically another one right there. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. So if you look over here at the V1 variations, the CV patterns, and the high-level momentum scalps, there's about let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 entries that came up so far. So whenever price is going sideways like this is a strategy that you want to look for. Look for high-level momentum scalps. Again, right here, there's a V1 variation pattern, double body rejection right here. And this would be another entry for a V1 variation for a sell. If anybody's looking to take it, there's still opportunity to enter right there. It's currently in pullback. Double body rejection, pending sell signal, V1 variation pattern. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. Otherwise, there's just not really much here to look at right now. Price is just going sideways. For me personally, I don't like trading these sideways strategies. I just like to wait for market to move in a direction. So going back to our risk plan that we discussed, that we've been discussing. So based on tomorrow's entry, guys, that's going to decide whether I continue trading for the rest of the week or not. So if tomorrow's breakout doesn't win, then it's going to trigger the -2 +1 risk plan. If tomorrow doesn't win for the breakout, then I have to wait for a win to happen for me to take the next trade. So if that becomes the case, then I'd have to wait for Wednesday to pretty much confirm that there's a winning trade. If that wins, then I'll trade again Thursday, Friday. Otherwise, if tomorrow wins, then it's fine. We'll be back to break even for the week, and then we'll continue to trade like we normally would. So we'll see. There's no news tomorrow, so I'm not really expecting much of a catalyst. Yeah, it's going to be the same situation. Same situation. The only thing that I will look forward to tomorrow, like, so tomorrow, for example, if we have a huge spike candle like we just talked about, then I think at that point I'll adapt to the market and I'll do the opposite. But only if there's a huge spike. The candle has to move about like 50 points. So close to 50 points. If it does move close to 50 points, then I'll maybe take the opposite. And full TP right there for the full TP for the V1 variation that I just marked up for you guys. So again, same thing right here, double body rejection. I marked this up for you guys. I said, if you guys wanted to enter, price was kind of pulling back a little bit. You have opportunity to enter there. Price filled, went straight to its TP. So if you're taking these V1 variation entries, I mean, there's a lot of entries that are coming up, right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 now. So 6 entries here back to back. And yeah, I think that might be it, guys. I'm not really expecting much to happen here. If you guys want to keep taking these entries, then you can keep looking for these V1 variation patterns. But for the most part, there's just not really much here to I mean, to take or look at, really, because the problem with this here is that, like, the direction isn't very clear, right? I mean, price is coming down, but it's not really coming down smoothly. Like, what happens here is, and this is our clean chart. What happens here is, like, there's a consolidation, then it breaks down a little bit, consolidation, then it breaks down further, consolidation, breaks down further, consolidation, and it just keeps consolidating. So, like, it might break back up here, consolidate, might come back down here, consolidate, but it's not moving in a direction where it's like flowing with the market. So you're not getting this, right? And that's what you want when you're trading directional strategies. For me personally, I like to trade directional. So that's just a preference for me. If you guys want to trade sideways, I mean, it's fine. You guys can see here the entries are hitting if you are taking these sideways moves. It's just, it's going to work until it doesn't. And a lot of you guys know how that works. Like, typically, it's going to work until price starts to move directional, because eventually price will move directional, but it's just a matter of time until it happens. So, all right, guys, I think that's it for the day. It's 7:45 right now. We got about 15 minutes till 8. So I'm not really expecting much to happen from now until then. If you guys want to keep trading, go ahead and look for these V1 variations, high-level momentum scalps, and CV patterns. Those are probably going to be the main ones to look for. I think right here, price will probably just continue to go sideways. It's now currently in this range where it's been in for a while. And it's probably going to stay within this range for the next period or so. I mean, price is starting to drop here. I don't know what's causing this huge spike. Let's check CNBC real quick. Okay. So breaking news right now says Trump sued by Central Park 5 for defamation. So 5 men were wrongfully convicted in the so-called Central Park jogger rape case has sued Donald Trump. I don't know if that's exactly what caused that big spike right there, but that's the only breaking news that happened right now. I mean, it could have been the case. Mainly because Trump is a presidential candidate, so obviously it's going to affect the market overall. But that was just a little spike right there. It just spiked slightly, and then now pretty much went flat. So, all right, guys, if there's any other questions that you guys have, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, I think this might be it for the session. Looks like price is pushing down, or it's trying to push down to the session right here. We have liquidity sitting down below here at 228. This level right here also is aligned with the London low and the New York low. These are the London low and New York low from last week. So not from today, because obviously today's the first day of the week. This is not the New York low from today. This is from last Friday. So this is the Friday low for the London and New York session. Yeah, there's not really too much here. So, all right, guys, I think I'm gonna wrap it up. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out on Discord. Otherwise, we'll come back here tomorrow for the next live session. We'll see how tomorrow's breakout plays out. As you guys know, we segregate the trades by week. So like whatever happened last week doesn't really flow into this week. This is a brand new week. So if we have two back-to-back losses for this week, then we're gonna take a break, basically. That's how the -2+1 risk plan works. If you have two losses, then we wait for one win, and then if we have that win there, then we continue trading. Otherwise, if we don't have two losses, so say for example, we lose today, we win tomorrow. That pretty much is a clean slate. At that point, we just keep trading as we normally would for the rest of the week, because we'd be back to break even, and then Wednesday is just gonna be like a brand new day, basically. Because win Monday or lose Monday, win Tuesday, and then Wednesday just continue on with the week. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. But again, the main thing that I'll be looking for is the size of the candle before market opens. So like once we get to 629, typically I'm not really looking at the candle, but what we'll do here is we'll make sure I'll probably try to measure it as it opens. If the candle is bigger than 50 points, then I'll reverse the trade, because at that point price is overextended. All right, so I'll probably just, so for example here, we'll just use crap, what did I do there? So what we'll do here is once price hits, or once it's at the 29-minute candle, what I'll do is I'll just keep a little marker there, something like this. I mean, it's going to be huge, it's 50 points, but I'll keep a marker there. If price does get to like that 50-point mark, then I'll tell you the direction. But if it does get to that point, I'll just tell you, okay, we're going to reverse on this trade. And then we'll reverse and we'll do the opposite. Because that's just the case that we've been seeing for the past couple of weeks. Whenever price is about 50 points or more, it tends to be overextended. And then when the breakout happens, it goes up a little bit and then it goes the opposite. So, all right, guys, you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. So I'll see you guys here tomorrow. We'll take the breakout tomorrow.